Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 12th December 2020. The first article for discussion is Pointing the Finger at Parliamentary Scrutiny. To understand this article, let me ask you a question. The existing ongoing agitation of the farmers, can we relate it to the failure of the Parliament to do its work properly? 2 days back, Madhavan Nair wrote an article in which he said that if the Parliament would have performed its work properly, the present crisis could have been avoided. If deliberations and discussions do not happen in the Parliament and government pushes the bills through the Parliament, then the outcome will be this. The outcome will be protests, stalemate, and loss of economy, loss of efficiency and trust. Everything can happen. So that's why the debate and discussions in the Parliament are a way to gain consensus, are a way to educate various sections of the society that need to be taken very seriously. What are the instruments of parliamentary scrutiny? We have standing committees today. Before standing committees, we had select committees. Even today, certain bills are referred to select committees of the houses. Who have the right to refer these bills to these committees? It is the presiding officer. Technically, it is the presiding officer. He does that on the recommendation of the government. Let me explain you about Lokpal Lokayukta bill. There was stalemate across the country. So first it was referred to a standing committee in Lok Sabha, and when it went to Rajya Sabha, again it was referred to a standing committee. And I was there in the discussion in DD Doordarshan. I can clearly say that the standing committee did an amazing work. It was able to find the golden mean and able to satisfy all the sections of the society. So that is what is the work a committee is expected to do. So these committees work away from the public glare. This is where the consensus among the political parties prevail. Normally in the Parliament, political parties play to the gallery. But when it comes to the standing committees, they work on the basis of consensus, non-party manner or non-partisan manner, and capacity to harmonize contradictions of various political parties can be clearly seen in these standing committees. The national interest prevails over parochial party interests in these standing committees. So that's why this mechanism shall be made best use of to avoid these kind of situations in the future. That is what the essence of this article. Next is Maduro's win. This is about Venezuelan National Assembly elections. President Nicolas Maduro's party won the elections. But see, Venezuela is known for its leftist politics. It is a petrodollar country. Today, commodities prices, when they got slashed, the Venezuelan economy got collapsed. Hugo Chavez, he built a strong welfareistic economy backed on petrodollars. So when petrodollars collapsed, a country went into crisis. In this scenario, America and many of the Western countries and also the opponents like Colombia, they started supporting a rightist opposition. And even today, the rightist party led by Juan Guaido, he states he do not recognize the elections, he do not recognize the presidentship of Mr. Maduro. In this case, the article says is, rather than being towed to the line of the West, these politicians shall gain the legitimacy from the people of that country. So they have to work on raising the people's concerns, understanding their pain. That's how they can get the political power and their political power can be legitimized. If they become the stooges of a foreign power, ultimately they will lose trust and credibility of the people. That is what is being stated. Next is connecting more people. What is the problem of India with regard to digital connectivity is concerned? That is called digital divide. The digital divide, it means that we are divided in access to internet, access to data. If you observe, rural India has only 27% of internet connectivity. That is also through mobile network. It is also not of high speed connectivity. In this case, across the world, 60 to 70% of data is consumed through Wi-Fi. But in India, the data is consumed mostly through 2G, 3G, 4G networks. Only 10% is consumed through Wi-Fi. In this case, Prime Minister Vani is coming up, which are Wi-Fi hotspots which can be managed by public data operators, PDOs. These are like STD booths which were existing before, and their operation is very simple. In this case, the beauty of this is establishing of a PDO can happen anywhere, everywhere, and it need not have any bureaucratic procedure. So this is what is going to revolutionize the data consumption in India. You know that if 10% increase in connectivity is there in a country, it increases the GDP by 1.4%. That is a proven statistics. So it means if we are able to bring in 100% connectivity in India, from that at least we can have 14% GDP growth. That is going to be huge. That's how I will put it as. Next is China rise has attracted a great deal of attention. In this 4 decades, what is the most important thing that has happened in the world? According to Mr. Bipin Rawat, Chief of Defence Staff, that is the rise of China. China has not just rised economically and militarily, it also started becoming assertive in the region. Because of this, many of the conflicts are also coming up. If you talk about Indo-Pacific, one way it is seen as a coalition that is being built to counter this rising assertive China. And second, COVID-19 has changed the dynamics how the people see the countries. It means the countries are becoming more nationalist, protectionist, and then strategies are being rechanged. Our strategies are going to be repeatedly changed. So this nationalist, protectionist, inward-looking attitude in a connected world, this has been described as globalization, global plus local, global plus local. It means you are connected and also you are concerned about your own things. That is called globalization. So the world is moving towards globalization from the existing globalization. That is what Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat is calling it as. PM Uzbek President discuss Afghan projects. If Afghan projects of India has to be successful, we need support of the Central Asian countries and the most importantly in West Asia, that is Iran. So we want to build an alternative access to Afghanistan away from Pakistan. In this scenario, if Afghanistan has to become stable and prosperous, the Central Asian countries, Iran also becomes critical. So in this case, Uzbekistan stand and India stand, if we look at, both of them oppose separatism, terrorism, secessionism, etc. And second, with regard to Afghan peace process, both the countries wanted to have a peace process that is Afghan led, Afghan owned and Afghan controlled. And further to this, they want a region specific solution for a sovereign Afghanistan. In this case, India has also offered $440 million credit line to Uzbekistan. These are the few important points here. India is on a track to reduce emissions. This is related to Paris climate change. So in Paris climate change, every country has announced nationally determined contributions, NDCs. India also has announced that. Among that, India wants to reduce, remember this, emission intensity, not emissions. Emission intensity by 33 to 35% by 2030 over the levels of 2005. This is one thing. Second is non-fossil fuel production of electricity is expected to be increased to 40%. Third is a carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons will be built in India. So these are the various nationally determined contributions of India. And now the climate change minister says that we have achieved 21% of emission intensity reduction. It means we are on the right path. Next is new cross-sector initiative for universal health coverage. Now in this case, Lancet Citizens Commission. So it has stated that India has to achieve or run on to the path of universal health coverage. This universal health coverage shall be comprehensive, accountable, accessible, inclusive and affordable. In this case, the 5 things which are being stated are UHC shall cover all health concerns. Prevention and long-term care are the key. Financial protection of all healthcare costs. Aspiring for a healthcare system that is accessible to all, and it has to be the same quality to everyone. So these are the essential features of universal health coverage. What is universal health coverage? The definition is very well given over here. In this case, Lancet Citizens Commission, that is the point we need to know. Normally we see commissions are being appointed by the governments. Now this commission is being appointed by the citizens, that is civil society commission it is. That is the point which is important here. Next is NK Singh calls for a fresh look at the 7th schedule. After the planning commission is removed, there is a vacuum, institutional vacuum with regard to the planning process and coordination between the center and the state. This has to be corrected. Today GST Council is a constitutional body. Finance Commission is also a constitutional body. Both of them were working with regard to the revenue distributions between the center and the states. So that's why a greater coordination is required between these two. And third is 7th schedule and Article 282. They need to be amended. Why they need to be amended? In the implementation of the central sponsored schemes, the states need to have greater flexibility. And finally, he also in supportive of reform linked incentives or reform linked grants to the states. These are the 4 points Mr. NK Singh of 15th Finance Commission is talking about. The final article for today, Center set to unveil ambitious PSE disinvestment policy. Now, government wants to disinvest almost all the public sector enterprises, even including the enterprises in strategic sectors. Let us take banking is a strategic sector for finance. So banking is important for finance sector. Even in the banking sector, it is expected to have 1 to 4 public sector enterprises, and the remaining all will be privatized. So privatization and equity sale is going to happen on a large scale. That is what is the finance ministry is going to say. Thank you very much. This is Dr. Rambabu signing off for Law Excellence IAS. Thank you very much.